Hey, how you all going? It's Jai, that Aussie metal guy here with crank.com and with that metalstation.com. And today I'm getting to have a chat with Lutharö, melodic death metal band from Hamilton in Canada, who are due to release their latest album, Hiraeth, 15th of October. They've got a new film clip on the way as well for Lost in a Soul. I have Krista and Victor. Thank you very much for joining me, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for having us.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. I'm really enjoying the music, and it's always good to come across new bands that I hadn't quite heard before. And for me, I love going back and checking out the old stuff and kind of where you're going now. And that latest album is unreal, man. First off, though, can you just give our listeners a little brief rundown of who you are?
I'm Krista Shipperbottom, and I'm the vocalist.
I'm Victor Bacor, and I play guitar.
Cool. So when did the band begin? When did you start this little journey of yours?
We started the band in about 2013. That's when we got together and we pretty much got a good lineup. And then we're like, okay, let's write some songs, let's do some things. And then we actually didn't start playing any songs. We didn't start playing shows, till 2014. So technically that's when we started playing live and everything.
Yeah, the band formed in high school basically, but yeah.
But it didn't get really serious really till 2013.
Yeah, we were a bunch of teenagers just like, oh yeah, we're in a band. Little did we know we weren't doing anything. Until about 2014.
Yeah, Victor, can I ask how you first started playing guitar, mate? I'm interested now. When did your journey as a guitarist start?
Well, I remember I really wanted to play guitar, and when I was in grade 8 or grade 9 or whatever, I asked my mom for an electric guitar, and of course she didn't get me one. She got me an acoustic guitar, and I didn't want anything to do with it. But eventually I started playing more and more, and then I bought an electric guitar. But it was actually, when I was a kid, I played the cello and stuff, so that's pretty cool. Changed it up. I've always wanted to play guitar, but my parents were like, no, you're going to learn how to play the cello. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then eventually I got a guitar, so.
It's not a phase, Mom.
And how did you start singing, Krista? When did you start getting into vocal work?
I've been singing since I could speak, honestly. Even when I was little, I would sing in my crib as a baby. My parents would hear me in the baby monitor, but singing not through a baby monitor again. With the guys, I would say when we formed Lutharö, and when I joined the band, it was that was when I got serious about singing. But before that, it was kind of just here and there, random performances with vocal lessons or school performances, or nothing really serious, just fun stuff,
Yep.
But
Yeah, who are some of the artists that have influenced and inspired you guys?
Well, Metallica is a big one for us. We love Metallica. And I think as we got more and more, as the time went on, I think Arch Enemy was one of their biggest influences.
Yeah, for sure. I think as a collective of all of us in the band right now, we can say Arch Enemy is a common band that we like. And I know that for me, listening to Angela Gosso, that was what made me realize that I could actually scream as a female too. That kind of gave me the guts and a little push to do that. So yeah, Arch Enemy would be a huge one for me.
Yeah, and you can definitely sing, that's for sure. I want to briefly go over the Wings of Agony EP, because that was a killer EP, and it kind of a little bit of a breakout EP for you as well that kind of got through a lot of years. When did you start making this? Was this, did you make this 2019 and release it kind of as everything was kind of hitting there, or?
We started writing that a while ago. We started writing that at the beginning of 2018.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, let's start recording. And then we had so many
lineup changes
and all sorts of setbacks.
Yeah, that one took forever to get done. Oh my God. Because we were thinking,
a year and a half almost.
Yeah, we were aiming for a full album with that one. But because it was taking so long to just write it and get a full lineup, we were like, no. We're going EP again, just because we hadn't had music out in a while. We wanted to obviously keep the fans interested in everything. But yeah, this time around we had all the time in the world. So
we also didn't have a drummer at that time. We we had to get a friend of ours to record the drums on the album. And he was only doing the album. He wasn't actually going to play live. So that was a little bit stressful because we were trying to find a live drummer while he was learning the songs for the studio and everything. So
yeah. And then obviously after Kale recorded everything on drums, then our now drummer Duval had to go back and learn Corey's style of drumming and then Kale's style of drumming. So it was a challenge for him.
Yeah.
And they're both incredible drummers too. So
and then with the latest album, he must be happy that he can kind of do him as well a little bit as the drummer on this album.
And he's super excited too because like he played in our Wings of Agony music video and our Blood Lightning music video, but he didn't actually write the drum parts for it. So he was super excited for filming the videos that we did recently because they were actually like his drum work and he was more comfortable, right? So
yeah. So can I talk a little bit about your songwriting process? Maybe we'll go musically with Victor and then lyrically over with you, Krista, if you'd like, and that way you can both get in on it.
All right. We'll start with you then.
Yes.
Yeah. You come first.
Yes.
All in order.
Usually, well, actually what we did for the new album, we pretty much came up with a riff at band practice or a couple of riffs, and then we would start playing them, and then for example, John, our other guitar player, would give his input, and then Chris, our bass player, would give his input, and then we kind of just started building off each other, and then that's kind of how the album was written. I feel like there was only 2 or 3 songs that were actually written at home.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else was written at practice, pretty much. As opposed to the other EP that we did, we pretty much wrote the songs mostly at home, and then we came and put up the little salt and pepper at the end at practice.
With these ones, because we had so much time, like everything was done like together, every single song.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like lyrically and vocally, like I write all my own lyrics and vocal melody things. But it's kind of half done in like practice and half done like at home, or I've even written full songs at work too. I just kind of like pull off to the side and I'll just like get inspired randomly and start writing stuff. But yeah, sometimes I'll write even like almost a full song at practice too, but like mumbling words.
Sometimes it's just gibberish.
Or yeah, a lot of it is just gibberish. I'll think of a cool melody, but then I'll put in literally gibberish words to fill the spot so you can hear all of our demos and it's just like, what the heck is she saying? But yeah.
But then
the good thing about the way we recorded this album is that we were able to do it at band practice because we're able to record ourselves while we were jamming.
Yeah.
So then we would listen back to it and then be like, okay, we got to fix this and this for the next practice. So that was also
a huge help.
Yes.
Instead of having cell phone videos like, okay, play that riff again. We need to remember this.
Yeah, because a lot of other bands kind of found it hard through 2020 as well to be able to get into a practice studio and all record together. So at least you were able to do that. Other bands had to find ways to do it through Zoom or Skype or everything like that. So at least you had that ability where you were all able to get together in a jam room and practice this album.
Yeah, we used obviously the regulations to our advantage at certain times. Like we were constantly watching what the actual limit was. So every time we were actually able to be in the same room together, we were, and we made sure we were the like most we could be, pretty much. But yeah.
Yeah, and I've got to ask Victor, what guitars are you using, mate, for this album?
So I record everything on my solar guitars. And since the pandemic started, I applied to be a solar artist and I got accepted. So I really love their guitars and I have 2 right now. I'm going to buy a 3rd one soon. And yeah, that's pretty much what I used on the album for all my rhythms and leads. And then our other guitar player, John, he used 2 of his Jackson guitars for it. So yeah, we did a left-right kind of thing when we recorded, so it's not just his rhythm or my rhythm. We kind of try to both put our parts in there, right? So
yeah, that's cool. It comes across, man. It's got some amazing guitar fucking riffs through this album. People are really gonna be impressed with this Hiraeth album. I can't wait till it drops out on there in October. Can you tell us a little bit about the recording and production process for this one?
this is probably the smoothest it has ever gone for us.
Cool.
Yeah. We said we wanted to record it in a month, and it took us 6 weeks, which wasn't that bad. But yeah, we're like, okay, let's do the drums. Let's spend 4 days in the studio at Monolithic Productions and record all the drums. And we did that. And it was tiring, but we did it. And he's like, I actually have an opening for next weekend. Do you guys want to do the guitars? And we're like, all right. So we spent 4 days in the studio, 4 long days in the studio, and recorded the guitars. And pretty much after that, we would go back and forth to record vocals and bass.
Yeah, we basically do for vocals, like I would do however long of a session I could, and then Chris would step in with bass and then do the rest of the session for bass. So we weren't like wasting the time going back and forth.
Because you can only go for so long.
Yeah, I mean, I pushed myself hard, but because I was like, I don't want to drive to Oshawa anymore.
It's like an hour and a half drive from where we live. That's where the studio is. So
we were like, okay, let's make this snappy.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, and it would have felt pretty good too, because you said you had those lineup changes and it was a little choppy with that last EP. Getting in for this one, although it would have been hectic hitting for those 4 days and whatever at a time, it would have, as you said, felt a lot better and a lot, smoother process.
100%. And last time too, we recorded majority of it with our guitar player John, and he had bats
in
at
his
one
house.
point in his house.
So we couldn't record for a little bit.
He wasn't sleeping properly, and he was just like super paranoid and stuff. And it was like, yeah, there was bats, there was lineup changes, there was so many things happened that were just very unfortunate.
Too bad it wasn't a Black Sabbath album. Would have been fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Who done the mix and master for this?
So Tyler from Monolithic Productions, he recorded and mixed it. And then we sent it out for master to Germany, to LSD Studios. Lasse Lemaire, he mastered it all. He does an amazing job.
Yeah.
He works with bands like Ailstorm and Glory Hammer and other big names. So he does a really good job.
Yeah,
he did. It's got a crisp sound on it. It's bloody pearl, all right. You can't go wrong with this album, that's for sure. Can I chat about the single that you're due to release? I think it was July 23rd, Lost in a Soul. You're doing the film clip for that one?
Yeah, next Friday.
We're super excited. Every day we're just like, oh my God, it can't come soon enough. Like we're freaking out every single week. We're like, why did we choose such a late date? But
and the longest song on the album as well, which is really cool. I love long tracks, man. It's really cool. I get lost in those real long tracks, and it's a cool track to go with.
We always seem to pick like the long epic one for our first release, I guess.
And that way people listen to the whole album too.
Yeah, well, it's also like, because a few people have told us like, oh, why did you like decide to go with that song as opposed to something that's more catchy and short on the album? We're like, well, I don't know. It's just like, I feel like it speaks more to our sound to have something more epic and huge and crazy. It like kind of shows all of our abilities in that way. Like Wings did a good job of doing that as well, like showcasing everything. But yeah, I'm excited for that one.
We also added orchestration on this whole album, which I feel like changed up
the whole feel. Yeah, which Elliot did an awesome job on that too. Yeah, we had Elliot from Ailstorm play or like write all the orchestration for it. So
nice.
Yeah.
How did you get involved? That's pretty cool.
I guess we opened for them a couple of years ago, 2019. It was 2019. Yeah, we opened for them, and then we kind of I started talking with Elliot more and more, and then eventually I'm like, you know what? We wanted some orchestration on our album, and I'm like, it doesn't hurt to ask. If he says no, he says no, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? And I'm like, perfect.
Probably bonus for us too because of the pandemic. He wasn't like as busy, right? So he was like, why not? You know?
I noticed a lot of artists like that doing spots on other albums as well. They just want to fill up the time. It's the one time we're all kind of in the same fucking boat together with all this COVID stuff as well. You know, we're all kind of going through this, and it's one time in the world in a long time since I suppose the World War. So everyone's been going through the same bloody thing together.
Sure. Very true.
Yeah, I want to ask a little more about that Lost in a Soul track. I want to ask lyrically, what does that kind of track mean for you?
That one, it's funny because I wrote all the lyrics for that one when I was working at the hospital, which is so random. I don't know what was going on in my head that day, but that one's probably the darkest one that I've ever written lyrically. And I feel like it didn't even really have to do with myself. It was just things that I was observing in other people's lives. But it's basically about people, or like someone who's not living up to their potential, someone who has so much potential, but instead they choose to like not get out of their comfort zone, or not ever see anything through, and they just end up wasting away essentially, and like just kind of blending into the background. But yeah.
I've got to chuck this in there. I know people can fucking get over on Spotify when it drops, but where's the best place people can actually buy physicals? Because I always push this in all my interviews as well, for people to realize, yeah, it's great to get these fucking Spotify listens, but to really support an artist, you got to get over and grab the pre-orders, grab some physicals, because that's where it's at to support this scene going forward. You know, we can't just rely on our 0.1 cent of a song to support a band.
Sure.
Yeah, you can find all our merch and physical CDs and everything on our Big Cartel website. So it's gonna be starting next Friday when the music video drops. It's gonna be all available for pre-order and everything. So
yes.
Nice. There you go. Everyone, get over and chuck in some pre-orders. Chuck in some pre-orders for this. They're going to want to do it because it's a really great album. I've got to have a listen to it, as I said, and it is cracker, like really, really good. I know a lot of metalheads are going to love this melodic death metal. It's like you said, I can sense a bit of that Arch Enemy vibes as well in there as well. But it stands on its own. That's the thing. It's just a great album. I can feel these influences, but you're doing your own bloody thing, so it's really good to see. Tours. How's the local scene going in your area? I know most countries, pretty well all countries, aren't having any internationals at the moment. But how's your scene going forward as well over there in Canada?
There's nothing really going on at the moment. There's still restrictions for like concerts and everything. I mean, there's like big bands that have concerts booked in like September, like Megadeth and Lamb of God. They're coming around, hopefully.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a show actually in just outside of Montreal on August 6th, which it's going to be an outdoor show, a festival.
Yeah.
But hopefully it happens.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 3 weeks away now, so.
Yeah, like we keep getting excited about things, but we don't want to get too excited just because everything just keeps getting canceled, you know?
Yeah, I feel because it's an outdoor show, it's probably going to happen.
Yeah.
Yep. But all the like indoor shows, they're like a 50% capacity.
Yeah, so, and you have to be like seated, which for a metal show, it's not ideal. It's kind of awkward when people are just sitting there staring at you and you're screaming, you know, like just a little strange.
Yeah, I spoke to one band, Hidden Intent, and they were doing a seated show, and they said they were trying to get the crowd into it, do some waves and some crowd waves, and that it's hard going forward as well because of all these different restrictions. But what I'm hoping is when these local shows are going, that the fans really get along and support the scene going forward, because I know pretty well most of the arts sector all over the world was pretty well ignored by governments as well, and the plight that the whole industry was going through. So it'd be great if everyone could get along and get to these shows when they are happening, buy them early, buy tickets early, buy merch, and support the scene going forward, because we all bloody need it.
I feel like when shows open up, people are really going to go this time, because
I think so too,
they've been deprived for it for so long.
Yeah, and maybe they feel as if they like took it for granted a little bit too, right? So I think it's going to be packed once everything opens up. Well, we're hoping for that anyways, but
awesome. That'll be really cool. Lutharö, Krista and Victor, this has been an absolute pleasure talking with you both. Do you have any last words, shout outs or thank yous you'd like to add in there before we sign out? Anything you like.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We want to thank Joe Lyko from Dark Moon Production for the awesome video that he did for us. So.
Yes. Lost in Soul is about to drop July 23rd.
Yeah.
Awesome. And pre-orders are dropping the same day as well.
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome.
Shout out to Joe. Woo.
Yeah, so the day Lost in Soul drops July 23rd. You can also chuck in some pre-orders for this specky melodic death metal album. It's an absolute ripper. You're all going to want to grab Hiraeth, put it in the stereo, turn it up loud. The neighbours are going to want to hear this on the 15th of October. Thank you very much for joining me, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Cool. Absolute pleasure. Hey, legends, how the bloody hell are you going? If you like that interview and you want to see more, be sure to like and subscribe. Keeps me doing what I'm doing and make you a bloody legend. Ripper. Too right, mate.